Hello everybody, welcome to Little Plume Notes. It's me, Kathy. I am so happy to have you here and I'm excited to share this video with you guys. So I know several of you guys have a notebook that to us journal makers are around the house, and as much as I loved this at the time that I purchased it, wanting to use it for maybe to-do list or little things like that, I know that I can make it just a little bit more fancier for my liking. And I have a sticker pad as well that I want to go ahead and use some of the 12 by 12s. And again, how to use some of these when you don't scrapbook, especially the ones that have the large layout. I'll go ahead and show you guys kind of what I did. And yeah, so then you can end up having a bunch of journals laying around. I can let the kids pick them out and use them, or maybe they'll be journals that I use for Plan With Me next year. All right, stick around. So before we go into the journals that I made, I do want to go over this paper pad with you guys just so you can see what I'm working with. And I left several of the pages in here that because there's 2 of each sheet, to show you what I worked with in the notebook. And so we'll go over and just review this really quickly. And again, I think I've gotten this from Michael's in the past when they had paper pads, I think for $5. I don't know how much they are probably now, but they used to have sales where they would have them for $5. So here again is just a large layout with a bunch of swimwear, and I wanted to use this because I don't necessarily see myself using this to make a card or anything else, so I wanted to use that sheet. And ones that I felt like it was a little bit harder for me to do, let's say layering or reusing it in other non-tropical journals. So yeah, I love these more muted pineapples. Oh, this ombre colors definitely know I can reuse somewhere else. So an example would be this kind of sheet. This layout is really for scrapbooking, having a 12 by 12 notebook, and I know I don't do 12 by 12 layouts. I personally get very intimidated by the idea of having to do some kind of art layout on a 12 by 12. I have tackled it a long time ago when obviously I was trying to see if I could get into scrapbooking, but again, it just took me so long to do one layout when I had, well, also I had an infant at the time, so that could have also been a reason I didn't stick to it. But yes, so I do want to go ahead and see how we can use something like this. And again, some of these more neutral ones I felt like I could reuse maybe in some other summer journals or different types of journals. Again, I love these. This is one of my favorite color palettes. Pink, a little bit of orange, all the way to yellow. I actually did this for one of my baby's first year birthday themed colors. I love this color. So again, these flamingos, I don't see myself using this quite often, so I wanted to see how I could use that. I did use this pseudo as washi tape or page borders. We'll see that. I do love the little watercolor drinks here. Let's see if I can show that to you guys. Yeah, I love that. That I definitely can see myself reusing. So this, again, is another example of how would I use this page. So in the past, what I've done is I do have a clipboard up in my room, and periodically I will change it out with something like this, depending on my mood. A lot of times I put my kids' artwork up there because they'll make me beautiful Mother's Day or birthday cards or letters. And so I do sometimes will use this in that specific layout. But again, I think pieces like this make sense to just cut them out and use them in pieces. So that's what I did with this. And again, I would have definitely probably had this as one of the journal covers had this been on this side. I do incorporate this into one of the pages, but I really love this toucan. It is so cute, so adorable. Again, I could have cut them out and put them on a page, but I was trying to do this project in a very short time, so I wanted to make sure I didn't do anything too elaborate. And this page I really like. I love this Birds of Paradise flower. I have a Birds of Paradise plant, but sadly I have yet to see the flower, and I don't know if I will because I'm in the East Coast and it's kind of cold in the winter here, and I think it really likes tropical weather, but maybe one day. I love this. This is definitely neutral. I could use this in any type of layout. Again, these birds here I wanted to use because I don't really see myself using it in a layout, in other layouts. And yeah, I think that's it. So that is the tour of this entire paper pad. Again, for summer, this is so fun. Again, I love the colors. And we'll see how I ended up creating 4 journals out of this. Okay, so here are my 4 journals that I created. And again, I like each one of those. They're all very different. My goal was to just create as many journals as I could out of one notebook. Go ahead and do a flip through of these. But in the interim, I just want to show you really quickly. This is the notebook that I used. If you have any similar notebooks that are very thick cardboard here, and the pages are very simple lined paper. It's kind of cool. It has actually orange lined paper. And I counted each of these sheets, and I think there are 20 sheets in here. 20 times 4 is 80, so it would be an 80 page notebook, which again, I don't know if you guys are like me, which that's why I probably have lots of stationery, is that after I use a notebook for a little bit, I actually get a little bit bored and I want to move on to another notebook. The smaller I can make these notebooks, not necessarily always. I mean, my bullet journal is, you know, the typical 100 some pages, 160, 80 pages. But these little notebooks that maybe I have like a little journaling project, or I want to just use it to do some type of short-term project, or maybe it's just a doodling notebook. I don't know. I just love the option of having smaller notebooks. So what I did was I ended up just taking the stapler out of this book. And so in doing that, I was able to get 5 sheets each that I knew I wanted to use per notebook. And again, 5 times 4 is 20 sheets. So that's more than enough for me to create a notebook. And that's what I did. I had a notebook that's very similar. So you can see this one here. It's from the same notebook. I reused it. This is the original cover, which I didn't cover up in the back. But in the front, I did cover up this. And I did create a little pocket here that, and so you can see that I'm using it as a pocket. And yeah, that is the little secret there. And then so I'll do a little flip through of this, and I'll show you the corresponding pages as I go through them, if it makes sense to do that. Let's see. Yeah, so this one was the big page. I think this one that had this really big quote in the middle, living in a tropical paradise. And I really didn't care for this quote necessarily. And so what I did was I decided, you know what, these would make perfect pockets on the corner of the pages. And so that's how I used them throughout the notebooks. You can see that I made pockets for each of these. And then for this, again, maybe I'll go in more detail with this notebook, but then just show you a flip through of the other ones, is that I used the, I know I'm gonna find it, is the page that look like washi strips here. So I did cut these up into strips and use them throughout different pages. Okay. And so here, just to add a little bit of interest, I added this strip down here. And again, if you wanted to tuck something in really quickly as a page, maybe you need additional journaling, or you have some ephemera or some tickets or things or receipts that you want to just save without the use of this journal, you can always add them into additional spots here. All right, so this one is the page that had all the different cards in there. And I love the fact that I can make this into just additional journaling spot here. And obviously it's flexible in where you want to use it. That was a little perfect addition there. And then this page is actually the fun page with the bird on the other side of it. Again, I would have loved to use this for a cover page, but since it kind of was on the left side of the page, I did put it in here. I did fold this because if it is a little bit longer than that, it sticks out a little bit past this notebook, and obviously I didn't feel like the need to cut anything, so I really wanted to just go ahead and fold it here. And as an embellishment, I just added this strip from another page I used where I did actually cut it to meet this, and so I had this strip left over, so I wanted to use it. So there we go for that page. So again, here you'll see that there's the strip here from this page right here. So this was the page that I mentioned earlier that had all the swimsuits. It was a very large page. Go ahead and show you guys that. Of course, it wouldn't be without me going through the book twice. Okay, there it goes. Yes, so this page. And so what I did was I just cut it down into more manageable sizes. I feel like that works for me because, again, I just feel like this is a little bit too overwhelming with all these images. I cut it down and I folded it here, and I may add a paper button here so that I can go ahead and wrap it up. But again, that's when I decide to use this notebook that I will do that. And then in here, I did a paper clip. So what I did was from one of these strips here, I basically just glued it and put a paper clip in between the paper and folded it about, folded it in, out, around, and then in again. And I always tried to keep it a little shorter on the other side because it makes it much easier to actually clip onto a page when you have that, in my opinion. Then I have the paper clip. Again, you can use that to add more stuff. There's our fun bird. And then here again, this page, again, in smaller increments, I feel like is a little bit more pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. And so here you could add in a few things that you want, since it's a belly band. And on the last page here, again, this was that whole page that had the big living in tropical paradise, and I created a little tuck area on the top here. That is the book, and you're probably wondering how I created this. Took out the staplers in the staples in the original notebook here, and in doing that, I have been thrifting and I found this awesome stapler here. And since this is a swing line, actually it's quite expensive if you want to get a swing line version of this, but they do seem to have more I guess generic versions that you can get online that maybe is cheaper than $40-50 that it was listed on Amazon. I think you can get one maybe for $15, maybe 20 max. But again, this is awesome because you can go in and staple up to 12 inches. That is what is cool about that. So here you would just need to staple it here. And again, it goes as far as this if you want to staple up to 12 inches. This was a great find, and this is why I actually was motivated to try this notebook idea out, because of this. Oh, I love it. Look at that. Awesome. I have additional staplers that are stuck together with a magnet and stuff, but the magnet has kind of weakened over time. I don't know what happened with it, but it doesn't do as good of a job as this, so I'm so excited to have this. So if you can find these while you're thrifting, definitely would say pick one up. Okay, so let me put this back in here. Oh, and so this is the same page with what I can use as washi strips. Again, it's not washi strips because they're just cardstock, but as pseudo washi strips, and I just decided to cut it in half, and using corner rounder here, just I feel like it makes it look a lot more handmade or customized. Okay, let me put that back in there. All right, so I will go ahead and just go through the rest of the notebooks without referencing that paper pad, and hopefully you'll get some ideas on how to use some of these 12 by 12 papers that, you know, maybe aren't your favorite, but when you start using them this way, like, you know what, I really actually like all the paper that I have. All right, let's go over this one next. So this one I use the pink cardstock to create this notebook. And in here, what I did was the quote that said living in paradise within that big frame 12-inch page. Again, I was using the corners as flowers for these like tuck spots, but in the attachments here, I mean in the frame here, obviously it was that quote, and I had those letters left over, and I liked the gold, so I decided to do a collage, and that is how this cover page came about. I just kind of took over a few of my leftover scraps and decided to collage them, and in here, this is probably the only non piece of paper I have that wasn't from the scrapbook itself, is some linen that I have, or lace that I have. I took a picture of it, and in here there's a tiny pocket here if you wanted to add in a few things in there. Obviously it's a little bit crooked the way it is, so it'd have to be something small, but I mean, look at that. I didn't even think to use that. That would be kind of cool, just as maybe a secret summer list, who knows. And yeah, so I wasn't sure about this idea, but I ended up really loving it. I love the idea of not having to throw these additional items away, and I love gold, so that kind of worked out. All right, so in here again is another sheet. You can tuck these, you can cut these as cards, but I thought they were fun as a little booklet, and you can add and write things in here, and has that in the pocket. Okay. In here, I guess I'll use this as a to show you where the tuck spots are in the pockets. Again, same idea. I just added some of the strips here. So this paper here is, I cut it a little bit shorter. I added the strip on this edge to make it a little bit more interesting, but when you close it here, it even actually looks like part of the paper, so that's kind of cool. And again, it's the smallest tuck area ever, but if you needed it, it is available. I didn't go down all the way. Again, another idea of that same paper clip that I had. This was the top portion of the paper, the 12 by 12 that had the bird on one side of it, one corner of it. So using that. Again, as I maybe use this, I may add more embellishments, especially to the middle of the page. Again, you can washi tape pages in as well as you want. And then here's the other side of that green paper. And then on here, again, I took additional strips that I had cut out and just made a little collage. And I have this fake flower petals that I added in the background here for some texture. Okay, so there's the little page that had the flamingos on the bottom. Again, I didn't make this into a full pocket because I was thinking about centering it on the page. But again, I'm always open for the idea that I may have something a little bit larger than this pocket that I want to fill in there. And I kind of left it open more as a tuck spot here. Okay. Then here's the other side of that paper. And then in here is a glued down strip of this. And this is, since it's cardstock, it actually acts really well as a tuck spot. And then this was that big paper pad, the 12 by 12 that had more of a frame, and the Birds of Paradise flower. And so it's just a journaling page if you want to use it. But that is my second notebook. All right, let's go over this one. So this one was the one that had the big palm tree in it, and I cut out the words. This one here. Again, I don't really know how I would use this because I don't do scrapbooking, but you know, having the tree and then the little verbiage here, I decided to cut this out and put it as the cover page. So love that. And then this was another page. Again, I just cut the corners so it looks a little bit more done. And you can tuck something in here. That's where this page, this little paper was in. So if I can put it back. Okay. This one I may embellish further and make it into a more legitimate bookmark with some tassels up here, you know, some grommet, not sure. But I love this. I think it's beautiful. So maybe I could laminate this too. Who knows? Again, another pocket. Again, I'm going to use this to show you any pockets that I may have. So this is one of those pages that can come out, and again, you can cut this up if you'd want to and make smaller cards. And just love the idea. Let's not cover the face of the bird. Okay. And in smaller increments, I do feel these pages are a little bit more manageable. So I love the fact that I can cut them up and use them in smaller increments. Again, this can be a journaling spot. This is just on here on the other side here. Just like that. And this is another way to journal. You can even maybe glue it on the sides if you want to and have it as an envelope. I don't really know. It's quite thick for an envelope. And close that up and tuck something in there. All right. Other side. Put this on the side here to make the page a little bit more interesting. And land on it. And then in here, I made this into a tuck spot. And this was one long strip on that 12 by 12. I decided to cut into 3 little cards. I may trim the sides, I'm not sure yet. It says fun, love, and cool. So there are fun little items there. All right, so this is just another journaling card that I can put into the belly band here. Again, from that same page. And then the palm tree on the back here. So I think you guys can agree with me that this is probably more than enough pages in here, especially if you do journal the way that I do, which is kind of adding in things and pictures, photos, or different embellishments and memorabilia from certain events. That having 20 pages of the line paper and then adding in these type of embellishments or journaling cards is probably more than enough before you feel ready to go ahead and move on to another notebook. So yeah, I think this is a great idea to use your scrap paper. All right, and now the last one. Let's go ahead and go over this one. I love this blue-green plants. And again, I could have used this for obviously a different journal spread that's not necessarily summer, but I just love the color, so I felt like using it. And this is I think one of the items from the tags that you can cut up into little cards, and it had this white, let's see, it had a little white space here that I cut out. You could draw something on here, you could put a sticker on here, but I decided to cut it out again because I love the use of pockets. And so right now you can just see the back of, the actual cover itself. And I've been harvesting this other book that I got for free, and the images in there and everything. in doing that, I decided that I wanted to just maybe use one of those pictures in here and just try it out. Unfortunately, I cut off the guy's head, but maybe you're having a more kind of, I feel kind of relaxed, want to do something, you know, staying at home is kind of what you're feeling. And again, if you have a pool, you could put that in there. So yeah, I just love the idea of the flexibility of having a Polaroid in there. So I just put both of these in there for now. I'll probably go ahead and put another sheet of paper back there in case you want these as journaling spots. So yeah, great use of this item here. So yeah, I probably would just maybe at some moment, maybe I might have a die cut that I purchased. I'm not sure, but I mean, I feel like this is so easy to do. So I may just take a few of my white cardstock and try to do this and create a mass make of those. I love this idea of the Polaroid. And so yeah, this one we'll go through. Again, the other one I had this as a card, a writing card. And again, this is the very middle of that large Living in a Tropical Paradise paper, but on its own, it is just a unique piece. Almost had tropical in there. But yes, again, you can use this as a journaling card. Another one of those pages. Again, this was one of the washi strips. I glued it here. I guess I should use this. I glued it only on this side. On this side, I have it swinging open all the way. So you can write maybe like a quote in there if you wanted to. It looks almost like a washi strip. And then here I glued it down so that it could be used as a tuck spot. And obviously, Let's Get Away kind of had it nicely fitting with that little quote there. It's another one of these large 12 by 12 pages that I just ended up using a corner of to make a pocket. The card page that had a bunch of different cards that you could cut out. So I decided to just keep that together. Again, not sure how I want to use it, if I'm going to use it like it is now or maybe cut them into smaller sizes. A tuck spot, an upper corner tuck spot with a writing card tag. Corner one here. Other side of the flamingo page, and a tuck spot. So you can put some large item on this page if you would like. In the very end. So yeah, that is how I basically took probably 12 of my large scrapbook paper pages and divvied them up between all of these notebooks, and from one notebook created 4 unique notebooks that in my opinion, are a lot more fun to use. Yeah, I hope this gave you some ideas, and if you need some ways to use some of your scrapbook paper that you necessarily don't know how to use, aren't necessarily excited about using in other types of projects, then yeah, I think this is a perfect way to go ahead and use it all up. All right, well, I hope you guys had some great ideas watching this. If you guys have some of this material and you want to repurpose those, you know, a little bit boring notebooks into something more fun, I think this is a perfect way to go. This will not be my first time that I do this. I definitely have a lot more notebooks that I want to make a lot more fun to use. I'll be doing this more than once, and this is just the first time I'm sharing this with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel so that you can see more of what I create with some of my paper crafts. I love playing with paper, and so I'm assuming if you watched it all the way through here, you do too. All right, have a great day. Bye.